everybody. Today we're learning how to go outside of a key signature, and it's going to be a good one. We're going to cover a lot of ground today, an insane amount of ground, actually, as we just kind of wait for people to trickle in. I'm going to be playing some things that are outside of key signatures. How about this guy right here? Didn't sound so bad, right? But I'm outside of a key signature just like that. So I think, hey, my man, right off the bat, there we go. Now that you're here, we can finally get started, I in mind. Excellent. So first of all, I think we should probably talk about what a key signature is, if any of you don't know what that is. So let's break it down, super easy, and talk about the difference between a note, a chord, a scale, a key. I know, it's rockin' Friday night, and it doesn't rock harder than going outside of a key signature, huh? You know, something truly not for the faint of heart on a rockin' Friday night. So basically when you play a note, just single note, all by itself, right? Now you can start combining some of these notes to make a chord. If you have a bunch of notes together that sound pretty good, that can be a scale, like this G. That can become the G major scale. There we go. Oh, time for the compliment game? Maybe soon. First of all, we gotta talk about going outside of a key signature. So, these 7 notes make a scale, the G major scale, which could also be seen as the E minor scale, right? So, a scale can also be seen as a key signature, right? The G major scale can also be the key of G. Now, anything inside of that key signature is gonna be any combination of using those 7 notes in really an unlimited amount of creative ways. Every single one of those 7 notes, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, can become its own chord. Now, the easiest way to generally make a chord is a triad, a 3-note chord that would either be major or minor. Now, the same formula applies to all 12 keys, all 12 key signatures, because there are 12 different notes. So any of the 12 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, can be the root note of a key signature, right? Oh, thanks for saying I have the best intros to my videos. I try. I put some time into them. But yeah, so any of those key signatures will work. All this stuff applies throughout any key. We're just picking the key of G because I like to think of it as the people's key. So we have 7 notes. Any of those notes can become chords. So the first note, G, is a major chord. The second note, A, is a minor chord. The third note, B, is a minor chord. The fourth note, C, is a major chord. The 5th note, D, is a major chord. The 6th note, E, is a minor chord. And the 7th note, F sharp, is a diminished chord. Minor 7 flat 5 could be another one if you wanted to extend that guy. But basically that's just kind of like the simplest way to start thinking about key signatures, in my opinion, is thinking about the chords that populate a key. And thinking in that manner is really going to help open up your thinking as far as playing outside of a key signature, okay? You do the best job of responding to the viewers' comments. Yeah, thank you. It's like, come on. The people have spoken, they want information, so we got to respond. That's what it's all about, right? And the people have spoken today about learning how to play outside of a key signature, right? Now, this is something that kind of took me personally a while. Oh, compliment game. That's right, we're still doing the compliments. Well, my compliment to you, sir, is that you are a prolific commenter. So well done. Keep that going. All right, so we just kind of took those 7 chords, and again, in any key, the 1, 4, and 5, the 1st, 4th, and 5th notes of the major scale become major chords. So in G's key, we got G major, C major, D major. The 2, 3, and 6 become minor chords. A, B, odd time signatures for your next video. Ooh, good idea. Yeah, definitely. We'll do that. Second best hair on YouTube. Who's the best hair on YouTube? We'll find out. Find the answer to that question out soon. All right, so 1, 4, and 5, major chords. 2, 3, and 6, minor chords. The 7th note is going to be diminished. Now, I think the first way we're going to talk about going outside of a key signature is kind of making slight alterations to some of the chords that I just mentioned. All right, and let's start with that 7th note. In the key of G, it's an F sharp. Thanks, man. All right, so we said that F sharp is a diminished chord, okay? What is a diminished chord? It's a root note. In this case, we have an F sharp. We have a minor 3rd, so F sharp, A, and a flat 5, C. Okay, so a minor 3rd right, is the second note if you were to make a minor chord. So a diminished chord is getting pretty close to a minor chord, right? So maybe one of the first things that we could talk about in going outside of a key signature is taking that diminished chord and turning it into an extra minor chord. So maybe making 4 minor chords. Instead of just having the 2, 3, and 6 be minor chords, let's make it the 2, 3, 6, and 7 to be minor chords, all right? So what that would do is we would introduce the chord of F sharp minor into the key of G, all right? And by doing that, we're adding a different note, okay? Usually, remember, it used to have a flat 5, a C. Now we're adding a C sharp. Now we could add that C sharp to any of the chords we talked about previously, which we'll get to in a second. But first I just want to talk about our fancy new chord that we're unlocking in the key of G. Some would say we're borrowing a chord from somewhere else. We're inserting a C sharp into the key of G, right? So now if we were to play the scale of the key of G, okay? So just by adding that, we have more diminished qualities, diminished being a flat 5. Like if we have that C sharp, we could add that to a G. All of a sudden that's fair game. So, you know, something like that might actually resolve really well to the 1 chord. So now let's just go through those chords again. But let's treat the 7th chord, chord number 7, as a minor chord. So now we have G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp minor. You can already tell when you hear it, something seems a little different. It's the presence of that new C sharp note into the key of G, all right? So now let's maybe try making a progression out of that. Let's do like a 1, 6, 5, 7 progression. I just kind of borrowed chords exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about. 1, 6, 5, 7. I don't even know what that's going to sound like off the top of my head. I just picked some random numbers. So 1, 6, 5, 7 in the key of G. And again, an altered 7. We're not usually doing, this is going to be kind of like our new special, limited edition only F sharp minor chord. 1, what'd I say, 6. I already forgot what I said. 5, 7. Okay, so that would be G major, E minor, D minor to F sharp minor. So you can kind of tell it's not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't sound that bad. There's a little bit of dissonance in what we would call it. Anytime you're playing outside of a key, there's very likely to be something called dissonance. And those are going to be notes kind of conflicting in a way that some people find actually really pleasing to hear. A lot of people find displeasing to hear because we, and when I say we, I think I'm talking about people who like listen to, you know, Western music. And what that means is just stuff that's based off of the major scale, the diatonic scale. You know, if we hear a lot of dissonance, it might be kind of jarring. It might sound bad. Like, you can use that to a great effect. Like, say you're in like a death metal band, right? Maybe you want a lot of, you might want a lot of that dissonance. In like the Eastern world, they use different scales. So it might sound bad to us, something like, might sound really great to them, and that sounds comfortable. That sounds like home to them. But when I say us, I'm really going to be kind of referring to Western civilization, as it were, right? Not saying that's better than anything else. So that's just one way to start incorporating a borrowed chord, or to play outside of a key signature, or adding an accidental, that C sharp. Now, again, like we said, we can start adding that to different chords too. Like let's take that G major again. If we kind of add a C sharp right there, a cool place to do that might be the 2nd fret on the B string. Alright, so I'm getting all these new kind of sounds. I could add that to a B minor chord, right? We could do the same thing. I could add it to a D major chord. That's a cool one, right? And that D major chord is going to be the next thing that I want to talk about, because this is something that is definitely more of my personal style, for sure. Finally caught a live stream. Welcome to the party, Bruce. It's good to have you, man. You know what? And you're just in time because we're talking about major 7 chords. Probably one of my favorite things to talk about after dinosaurs and Kobe Bryant. But let's talk about adding a third major 7 chord. Just like we talked about different chords in a key. The 1, 4, and 5 are major chords. The 1 and the 4 can become my favorite chord, the major 7 chord, okay? So if you've never played like a major 7 chord, a cool way to play that, especially a G major 7, would be rooting your root note right here, 3rd fret on the low E string with your pointer finger. Your ring finger is gonna add the 7th note in the major scale, right there, which is the 4th fret on the D string. Pinky's gonna be right behind it on 4G. Middle finger is gonna be on 3B, okay? So, this is a great chord in the key of G, the G major 7 chord. You can also play a C major 7. The 1 and the 4 chord both become major 7 chords, right? What don't you like about the Dave Matthews Band? I like, that's a silly question. I don't dislike the Dave Matthews Band. Yeah, now it's a party. G minor 7. Oh, wait. You want me to change it to a G minor 7? We can do that, okay, all right. We'll get there, but first, just wait. We're gonna turn the 5 chord into a major 7 chord. Now, if you're into the blues, like you all know I am, I freaking love me some blues. I live for the blues. I eat and sleep the blues. The 5 chord is where that dominant 7 chord comes in, right? That nice little D7, which resolves on the G, right? What if we decide to get rid of that dominant 7, turn it into a major 7? If we did that on the D chord right here, it would be 5A, 7D, 5G, 7B. There's a band in Pakistan called Junoon that used to do, they used to do that. You should definitely check them out. A mix of Western and Eastern music. Yeah, that's so cool. A lot of really great bands have a good mix of like Eastern and Western music. One band off the top of my head, System of a Down, has some really cool rockin' songs. They use a lot of Eastern type scales and stuff. But we're gonna do the opposite of that. We're gonna take the 5 chord, turn it into a major 7 chord. Okay, so now you have 3 major 7 chords that we can populate. Which, what did we do to get this, right? We took this note right here, which is a C, and a C sharp, made it a C sharp. So the same thing that we did by taking an F sharp diminished and making it an F minor, it altered that D7 chord and made it a D major 7 chord. Now, there's a difference between adding a note in a scale and replacing a note. We're more talking about adding a note to a scale. So we added that C sharp there. Now you could actually replace the C with the C sharp. Now that would actually be what's called a mode. This would be the Lydian, the G Lydian mode, okay? We're not gonna get too far into modes because that's like a rabbit hole that guitar players love to go down over and over and over and over again. But we're just gonna introduce that C sharp into the D major 7 chords. So now we have 3 major 7 chords on the 1, the 4, and the 5. Any type of voicings. We can do a different G major 7. Just yeah, see? So he's commenting on bar chords. These are way easier. G major 7, the easiest way to do that is just hold the 2nd fret of the high E string. And then we can play a C major 7 chord. All I'm doing here is I'm taking a C shape, taking my pointer finger off, ring finger up a string to get a low G, so it's 3E, 3A, 2D. One of my favorite chord voicings. A nice full thick C major 7. So G major 7, C major 7 to D major 7. Again, D major 7 is so easy breezy, just the 2nd fret on the bottom 3 strings. You can play like an A major chord down a string if you're more familiar with that. I kind of just did a little fill there with something from that kind of thing that we just added by adding that note from a different key. So I'm playing outside of that key signature, okay? And that's kind of like not a super jarring way to do it by just delicately introducing new chords into maybe stuff that you're already thinking of. So what I actually like to think of doing is anytime you see a major chord, no matter what song you're playing, experiment with different types of major chords on it. So like let's take something really similar to that. Or let's take a different key. Let's do something in the key of C, right? Or it's just maybe a C, A minor, to an F, to a G, okay? So C, A minor, F, G. All right. Now let's take that A minor and let's make it major. Let's go crazy, right? So now we have a C. The number one thing that I want you to take away from this lesson is when you try to play something different, like a different chord, play it with confidence, okay? So if you're taking any chord that you see, seeing like a minor chord in a progression, turn it into a major chord, or vice versa, whatever you want to do. But when you play it, obviously if you're taking something that's like already, you know that's in a key, like a regular progression that you know sounds good, if you switch the major and minorness of a chord, it's going to be dissonant. It's going to be kind of jarring. You're going to play outside of a key. That's one of the easiest ways to do it, is just kind of play the opposite. I think of minor and major being opposites of each other, right? Play the opposite of what the song is intending. Now, if you do that with confidence, you will always get away with it. All right? So let's take that C, G, A, F. Okay? Yeah, it seemed like I knew what I was doing there. If I just went C, G, no, it doesn't work. I didn't sell it. Sell it with your confidence, with some bravado, facial expression, okay? Let's make it even different. Let's take that F major and do F minor. Do you still practice now? If so, what are you working on? Yes, I practice. Of course I practice. I mean, so yeah, I've been playing for a while. For those of you who don't know me, I've been playing for like 17 years. By no means am I a master of guitar. You can always find stuff to practice on. I think what I'm trying to do a little bit better is maybe get faster at stuff. I've never really been a shredder. It's never been kind of like my personality. I never really wanted to do some shredding stuff, but I've been doing more rock stuff recently, and I'm getting like a little bit of the shredding bug. And it's like, all right, I could probably tighten up my shredding skills, which is a great segue, talking about playing out of a key too. But I wanted to kind of make another example of that really basic C, F, G, A minor progression. Let's just take any two of those and switch those from major to minor. So let's take that F and make it minor. C, G. It's kind of a good one, right? So again, once you hit that, as soon as you hit that, all you do, I wasn't even thinking about, okay, I want to introduce F's minor third, which is an A flat or a G sharp or whatever. I want to introduce something. No, I'm not thinking of that. I know that changing its class, the class of a chord is whether it's major or minor. By changing a chord's class, I am automatically playing outside of a key, right? In no single key signature can one chord be major or minor. It's either one or the other. You know, it's like you're either like a fan of good music or a fan of Rob Thomas. You can't be both. It's one or the other, right? It's either major or minor. So yeah, the F minor, when played with confidence, kind of hits you, right? C, G, A minor. But it's not bad. So maybe that's like a sound that you like. So in that case, you'd be like, okay, I kind of dig that sound. Instead of thinking, okay, what am I doing? I'm actually taking the major third of an F, which is an A, and flattening it, making it an A flat. That's awesome if you want to think like that. I personally think that getting into the theory is a really cool thing to do, a really fun thing to do. But not everybody's like that. Maybe just kind of remember, all right, I'm gonna take the 4 chord in any key that I want, and I'm gonna treat that as a minor chord, and that's gonna be part of my sound. So let's apply that to something different. Let's apply that to the key of B flat, right? So B flat is the 6th fret on the E string. And you know, maybe you're playing with a singer, maybe you're singing yourself and you want to play a song, but you kind of like that sound. Let's find out what the 4th note in B flat is. B flat, C, D, E flat. Usually that would be E flat major, right? You could play like a B flat. minor. That'd be a 1, 4, 1, 3 progression. Let's make that 4 chord a minor 4 chord would be the way that some people might talk about that. So we have 1, 1 to the minor 4, 1 to the minor 3, and then maybe 1, 2. Maybe we take the 2 chord, which should be minor. That should be a C minor, and let's make that a C major. Okay. So now we're just getting wild. Crazy. Things are getting out of control. It started off very innocently and ended in a very devilish way, not unlike a lot of people's Friday nights. And yeah, so that's, again, if we just want to recap that, 1, regular old 1, a minor 4, which would be E flat minor, a 3, which is also a minor chord, to a major 2, okay? Now, sometimes, like, hearing something like that, when played with confidence, always confidence, that's like a life lesson. That's not even just a guitar lesson. It can be a really cool sound, you know? Okay, and it still resolves on that 1. Okay, and that's a really interesting thing because you'd think like, okay, I'm making so many different kind of changes. You think that maybe it would throw off the tonal center, but no, because you know you're starting there with the 1 over and over again. Can you repeat the name of the first chord of this progression? Yeah, so this is a B flat major 7 chord, and it's the same voicing that we talked about a little bit earlier. If you're just joining us, 6E, 7D with my ring finger, 7G with my pinky, and B with my middle finger. Now, the A string, I just can't hear because I'm muting it with my pointer finger. Alright, so we've got B flat major 7. You know, you can make that just a regular B flat major if you want. You can play a triad like this. Some people play B flat up here. Alright, any way you want to do that, but you can always bring that over to a minor 4, the 4 chord, which should be E flat major. Again, this works in any key, right? In fact, let's do the whole thing. A 1. Oh, never mind. I figured it as a major 2. This one. Okay. Yeah. So we have the minor 3 chord. The major. 2. The last one, right? Okay. Yeah. So that'd be a C major 7. So what this is, it's the 1 chord as a major 7. It's the 4 chord as a minor chord, major 7, yeah, you got it. And then it's the 3 chord, which is usually a minor chord, and then the 2 chord as a major 7 chord, all right? Do the same thing in A. Maybe that's a little bit easier because A is a little more of a common key than B flat in some instances. Like for a horn player, B flat would be a more major key, but we're guitar players, come on. So then we'd have A major 7 to a D minor 7, C sharp minor 7, works, right? We're outside of a key, and we got there just by switching the class of different chords that are within a key, still using the same root note, and because that root note is in the key anyways, it kind of has a certain way of grounding it, I suppose would be a good way to kind of put it. It's not so far off, because really we're just kind of taking that third and changing it, that still kind of works, right? Alright, so maybe let's talk about using a root note for a chord that already isn't in the key. So maybe this could be seen as like a little more jarring, maybe some more common ways that this is used, right? Let's go back to the people's key. Now that the note that we introduced last time was a C sharp. Remember we took a G, A, B, C, C sharp key, and then just kind of went the rest of the way back. Now what we did in the past is we introduced that C sharp into other chords. So we added a C sharp to a D, which made a D major 7. We added a C sharp to an F sharp diminished, which made it an F sharp minor. But what if we just took C sharp and made it its own chord? We could pick its class randomly, whichever. Which video has the least number of views? The Art of Doug or so. Man, this guy's deep diving into some old videos. I have no idea. I would say sore point massage. That's my answer. I really gotta take that off. All right, so let's add. What class should we pick? Let's make it minor, right? So we've got a regular progression: G to D to E minor to C sharp minor. Real construction. Nah, I was wrong. Hey man, what's going on, Ugly Bugly? Welcome to the live feed. So G, E minor. It's like, oh, that is definitely jarring to me because we start off in the people's key, good old G, to a D, E minor, C sharp. What? Again, practically, is that musical? It's not for me to decide. You know how you want to use that? Hey, if you want to make some kind of like spacey post-rock art music, that would be a good way to do it because you're really surprising people by playing outside of that key. By taking a note that isn't in the key to begin with and then putting a chord on it. Yeah, see? Agreed. C sharp, C sharp. Again, that's generally not, it's not like you can't use it, you know? You can figure something out. Like the way that I would do it, if I had to, if someone was like, Sean, you need to add a C sharp minor into a progression in the key of G, I would use it as maybe like a passing tone between C and D. So maybe like G, B minor, C. Snuck it in there on you, right? You didn't even know that was a C sharp minor. C. Again, by itself, a little bit different, right? Herman is often used drops in a 7 chord instead of a minor. Oh, sorry, I didn't get to see that. C, E7, A minor, C7 progression. How does this theory on that work? So what is that? C, E, and then what, C7? Okay, great question. Excellent question. And I actually wanted to talk about this, I forgot about it. So first of all, what he was just asking, he said Herman and the Hermits uses the song. Not totally familiar with the song, but this actually happens in a lot of different songs. So our progression is C, E7, A minor, C7. Okay, and then maybe, I guess maybe, where would we go to? I guess probably that would lead to an F. Again, we'll talk about this in a second. So again, C major, E7, A minor, to C7. I need to go to an F after that, and that's what we're going to talk about. So whenever you see a 7 chord, all right, a 7 chord generally has a job to do, and that job is to create an atmosphere that brings it back around to the 1 chord or a different chord, okay? Mostly the 1 chord, all right? Now, what does that mean? So in the key of C, the 5th note is where that dominant 7 chord is most naturally going to exist, okay? So in the key of C, C, D, E, F, G. That's why a G7 chord will very often be followed 95% of the time by a C major chord because it creates, like I said, an atmosphere to be resolved by the 1 chord, okay? A dominant 7 chord basically is creating an opportunity to resolve itself, all right? Most of the time that happens on the 1 chord in a key. If we were in the key of G, right? Like we said before, the people's key. That 5th note, G, A, B, C, D, D. D7 leads you to go to a G. All right? Now, there's this thing called subdominant. And this is what we're going to talk about real quick. Dang, Iron Man has been here like the whole time. Yeah, of course. Of course he's been here the whole time. He's on the ball. Where have you been, Ugly Bugly? Come on, man. So, back to that subdominant thing that we were talking about. It doesn't always have to resolve on the 1 chord. Sometimes it can resolve on another very important chord in any key, and that's going to be the relative minor of a key, all right? So in any key, this is also where your minor pentatonic is going to sound the best. If you're in the key of G, the 6th note, or well, in any key, the 6th note, this exists. G, A, B, C, D, E. E minor and G major are inexplicably tied together in a way that is very important musically, and it's really something that once I started understanding this, I became a much better player, songwriter, compositionally arranging, everything just kind of comes from this, where the nature of that, it's like G is the boss chord, E minor is also like a co-boss chord for just kind of like a different type of feel to a song, right? So, like a minor pentatonic, why can't the 6 buy beer? Because it's minor. Cheddar Kung Pao, good to see you, man. One of my favorite commenters right there. We're talking about resolving at a minor chord, right? So the 6 chord, how would we set up something to resolve on a minor 6 chord? We would do something by taking it, just kind of like we said, the 5 is what sets up the resolution for the 1. What if we saw the 1 as being A minor, and we went 5 away from there? So we take the A minor scale, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E. E is the 5 chord if we perceive A as being the 1. So if we made that a dominant 7 chord, hence E7, even though this isn't in the key of G, right? Because we have a G sharp here, that should be minor. If we make it major, that can resolve on an A, and it has more of like a somber resolution to it, okay? So just as D7 resolves on G, and that has kind of like a very fitting resolution, kind of like a happy ending, right? An A minor happens here. One extremely popular example of that would be Imagine by John Lennon. I think that happens. I think of inserting an E7 into that progression. So that's not an example of like the Hermit of the Hermits one where we resolved it to like a subdominant thing. That's more of like getting that E7 into a chord progression where diatonically it doesn't exist. So going back to that progression that the one viewer commented on, C major, E7, A minor. You can never miss these lessons. Must-see stuff. Thank you so much. Great questions, by the way. I love all the questions you guys are. Any questions you get, hit me up. Come on, let's do it. But yeah, so back to that Hermit and the Hermit's progression. Again, not something I'm familiar with, but just kind of the theory behind how it works. C major, E7, A minor. There's that subdominant. There's that minor thing. Springsteen or Dylan, and then into a C7, right? I love that. Okay, so now. Again, I don't know the song. I would guess that it's setting up for another chord. Why? Again, let's play it again. C major. E7, a 7 chord. I gotta resolve it. A minor. C7. Where does the C7 resolve? All right, what's the next chord in that progression? Again, never heard this song. I could be wrong about this. I could be embarrassing myself right now because I'm predicting where it's going to go, and watch, it probably just goes back to a C or whatever. But where would a C7 resolve? Now, we kind of have two options here. Let's see. Paige or Clapton. Sorry for ripping on your question. Paige, for sure. So where's that C7 going to resolve? Well, where is C, the 5? Okay, we could count backwards through the major scale, right? Here's our C. F. I should put the leading, right? F, G, A, B flat, C. Okay? I think that was Kindred. Oh, what? What happened with Kindred? I didn't hear it. What? Yeah, so that C7 most notably is going to resolve on an F. Okay? Cool. It could also resolve on F minor, just kind of we talked about before, but in this instance, I would venture to guess. I looked over my shoulder. Oh, I thought I heard like a knocking or something. I don't know. Whatever. It's a C major. The next chord is an F. Hey! All right, got it right. Still know what the song is, but that's the power of kind of knowing some of the music theory, is because once you kind of understand it, then it can kind of help you, you know, kind of dissect songs that you're familiar with. And that's a fantastic one. I love that. How cool does that sound, right? Again, it sounds kind of familiar. I can't really place it. I'm sure it's been in other songs too. But That's the power of a dominant 7 kind of leading you in a certain way. And to me, that is, I think, one of the more practical ways in playing outside of a key. Now, a lot of people will use altered scales to play outside of his key. Something like maybe like A, like a harmonic minor type thing, where you're not introducing anything, kind of like we talked briefly about before. You're replacing a note. So this would be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. If we raise that 7th, A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. Okay, and that definitely gives it, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, an Eastern type vibe. Do I have a degree in music? No, absolutely not. My background is I have a degree in communications, which I have yet to really totally use. I mean, I guess we're communicating right now, aren't we? So I guess my alma mater could hold that over my head. But I didn't know anything about music theory. I just totally picked up guitar when I was like 17, 18-ish, and I used the internet to help me learn some songs. I eventually got decent. The streets, that's right. Yeah, you know, that's where I learned. In the School of Hard Knocks. That's where I got my degree from. I had no idea what I was doing for the longest time. I kind of felt like I had an aptitude for the instrument, but when it came down to it, I had no idea what I was doing. What's the melody scales used in Middle Eastern music? That one is one we were just talking about, harmonic minor. But yeah, then I started, I just realized that I could teach. A lot of people wanted me to like teach them what I knew, and I kind of had a personality to start teaching. And then I was like, if I'm gonna teach this, I better kind of know what I'm talking about. So I hit the books hard. I've got a couple books that Berkeley put out about music theory, and I just kind of taught myself that with different things. Yeah, harmonic minor, cool. Yeah, for sure, that's definitely a good one. Kind of augmented. There are ways you can use augmented scales or augmented chords and stuff with that. Harmonic minor is definitely a cool Middle Eastern one. A nice little scale you might want to look into is this one. It's really less of a, I'm like stuttering now. Like, talking about my degree, I'm probably like having some kind of like flashbacks to like wasting money or something. This is kind of a fun one. So let's start on the 5th fret of the E string and go 5, 6, 5, 6, right? Then down a string, 6, 7, 6, 7. Then down a string, 7, 8, 7, 8. LeBron or Curry? Man, that is a tough question because I'm really not a fan of either of them. I suppose I would have to go with LeBron. Curry gets a free pass because he's a little guy. Again, I'm a huge basketball fan, right? I was putting in work earlier today, by the way, people. Westbrook? Sure. Westbrook, yeah, why not? I'm a Rubio guy, as weird as that is. I'm gonna die on the Rubio sword. Yeah, it is. By the way, it is past the 38-minute mark, so any kind of questions are fair game now. Messi or Ronaldo? Ronaldo. Another semi-unpopular opinion. But yes, 100%. Harmonic C minor scale. So that would be like... Oh, no, he said no. Did I just lose? All right, first of all, unpopular opinion with the Ronaldo thing, I'm sure. I would much rather watch Messi play. It's like Messi's so amazing to watch. I remember I was watching what was it last week? What's the name of the cup where it was Real and Barcelona? I think what ended up being Neymar's last game, right? It was like I went from watching the Gold Cup, which is the United States team playing, and then watching like Barcelona, and it was like such a different level of play. It's so bad. I'm kind of a noob when it comes to real football, soccer as we call it in the States. So I just kind of pick weird opinions. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Messi's way more fun to watch. I do love Ronaldo though. Ronaldo's pretty amazing. That's not a fair comparison though. What, the Gold Cup and Barcelona and stuff? Yeah, that's true. But it was just jarring watching like, again, the US played, I thought the US played pretty great in the Gold Cup, but watching them kind of struggle to complete passes and stuff, and then seeing like Messi and Iniesta and Neymar and Suarez and those guys is ridiculous. But yeah, I think somebody asked about the C. Do I listen to play any Mac DeMarco? So a lot of people have been telling me to get into Mac DeMarco. So for the first time, I think 3 days ago, I started watching a few videos of him, and I'm not super into him yet, but I can tell that there's like a lot of cool stuff there. I just haven't really familiarized myself with a lot of his stuff. But I did watch an interview that he did and then a couple music videos. So I'm on my way to be more familiar with DeMarco. Nothing totally grabbed me right away, but I can definitely tell he's got like a kind of like cool signature style, and seems pretty cool. Again, I will get there. It's happening slowly. I was more excited about the new Queens of the Stone Age track that came out yesterday, I think. Man, that was awesome. This Old Dog by him is pretty fun to play. All right, cool. Thank you for the suggestion. I will definitely check out This Old Dog by Mac DeMarco, because that guy's blowing up, right? It seems like every week. The Evil's Landed is so good, right? Oh, Queens of the Stone Age. All right, I will check out, good sir. I will check out This Old Dog by DeMarco, but you got to check out The Evil Has Landed by Queens of the Stone Age. So good. Although Cheddar Kung Pao, you might agree with that. It seems less Queens of the Stone Age and more half Queens, half Eagles of death metal, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not complaining. What scales does Guthrie Govan use in his solos? I've been trying to figure this out since forever. All right, so Guthrie Govan, beast, absolute beast of a player. Not someone I'm super familiar with. I haven't really kind of studied how he does stuff, but I think he does use a lot of that harmonic minor from the stuff I've heard. It is kind of like from the school of a little bit Eastern stuff. Oh man, you saw Eagles of Death Metal in the track? Man, it's so cool. I gotta get myself to go see Boots Electric, Jesse Hughes and the boys. But I think Guthrie, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Guthrie does hear, no, not an Italian accent. It's just a speech impediment, I think, more than anything. I think Guthrie uses harmonic minor in a lot of his solos. By no means am I a Guthrie Govan expert. That's just kind of like me secondhand hearing a lot of kind of like his playing and stuff. But guy's an absolute beast. I have no excuse why I don't know more of him, but that's kind of it. It's weird how you still don't have a shoe on your head. Greetings from Taiwan. What's going on? Greetings from the States. Man, it was pouring. It was like another thunderstorm downpour in Florida here a second. But that's how we do it at Guitar Control. Come rain or shine, we keep it real. You think Guthrie uses calculus and quantum physics in his playing? I definitely wouldn't be surprised. You know, it seems like there's a little bit of like Frank Zappa in his playing too. Again, I could be kind of embarrassing myself here because I don't really know a lot of it, but definitely. Thoughts on David Gilmour? Well, so some of you who know me know that I don't really listen to Pink Floyd. I don't dislike Pink Floyd, just don't really listen to Pink Floyd. A little bit of Fairy Dust as well. Yeah, with Guthrie. Fairy Dust, Calculus, Harmonic Minor, and the Ghost of Frank Zappa. If you can somehow combine those four things, then you'll pretty easily be Guthrie Govan. So good luck with all that. That's all I really have to say on the matter. And probably with David Gilmour too. My challenge to you people watching this is to try to start introducing one foreign chord into maybe your playing in any way, right? This is just, maybe if thinking of introducing like a note and having that one note kind of alter all the chords, if that's something you don't really want to think about, don't even think about it. Just take one chord, change its class, and then start trying to incorporate it in a way that you like. Because there's something in there that you will like. One thing I think is taking that second chord and making it a major chord. That's something that's really, really common, right? Like let's take a progression like C major to B flat major to G to F, right? Have you put out any of your songs commercially? Yes, I actually just released an album last week, which is actually an acoustic version of an album I already had released. But yeah, if you go to like iTunes or Spotify and just type in Sean Daniel, there's going to be an album called Parador that comes up. And there's two versions. There's the produced one, that again is just all me doing everything and tracking everything. And then there's an acoustic version of all the songs that I kind of tried to rearrange acoustically. It's good to go listen to after the lesson to be cool. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely check it out. Check it out, Ugly Buggy. Let me know what you think in the comments or over my channel or whatever. Because you know, I think it's got some cool guitar stuff. I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. I always got new stuff coming out too, so. I keep finding it hard to create chord progressions that sound good together without totally ripping off other songs. Okay, yeah. Can you play the notes in a major 7th scale? So, A major seventh scale to me isn't really like a thing. It's like a chord. Okay, so a chord is made from notes. A major seven chord is going to be the first, third, fifth, and seventh notes of the major seven of the major scale, right? So if we had a G major, a G major seven would be. So we wouldn't really call that a G major seven scale. We'd call that a G major seven arpeggio, which is even better, I think, because there's so many uses that you can have for something like that. You can just play them all in one scale shape, like we have a scale shape here, right? The G major scale shape hand position. Some people play it 3 notes a string. You can do it either way. You can do a 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. Doesn't matter. That'll get you a major 7 chord either way. Now, what I think is super valuable is learning a fretboard spanning arpeggio. 1, 3, 5, 7, 1. Okay? So kind of like being able to figure those intervals out. Especially maybe just start with like a major triad. G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D. And then kind of just gotta end it. Can't leave you hanging on that 5 there. But yes, that'd be like a major 7 arpeggio, which you could think of as a major 7 scale if you just think of a scale as being a group of notes that sound good together. Major 7 scale. Again, that'd just be 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. If you want to know what the fingering is for that, it's 3E. And again, the cool thing about this is every fret gets its own finger. The second fret's always going to be pointer. Middle finger is always going to be 3 right here with a group of notes to improvise. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. I love how everyone agrees on a question and calms down with the comment. Yeah, that is kind of interesting, right? Like I'll be like answering a question and nobody's commenting a new one. Like what great group etiquette that we're all kind of performing here, right? Yeah, but just to kind of finish out that major 7 one. Yeah, of course you missed plenty of good stuff. You missed this major 7 arpeggio. 3E, 2A, 5A, 4D, 5D, 4G, 3B, 2E, 3E. There we go, major 7. So my challenge to you guys, again, is just trying to find one thing to kind of change up. And kind of like someone had a question about, we get a live stream with all 3 Daniels. Maybe at some point. It's hard to get my... It's hard to get the female Daniel involved because she's in a different state and shy. But we should get we'll get the Daniel Bros back on here sometimes. Yeah, I think another common thing is taking the second note in a scale and making it major. A quick demonstration of the harmonic minor. Yeah, sure. So again, I think a harmonic minor is like the easiest one to wrap your head around because it's just the minor scale. Maybe we can make a riff out of that. This is riff building, I think, is really important if that's your style in a harmonic minor. So again, that's 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. Or wait, no. Did I just say that right? Yeah, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 6, 7. Okay? So let's kind of combine an A. Thing about that is it's taking something that's really beautiful, which is the interval of a major 7, but in the context of a minor chord. And then maybe kind of seeing the friction that creates with all the different notes. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these 2 notes and kind of getting them together. I'm not hearing the A string. And I'm taking just these 3 notes on the E string, 5, 7, and 8, A, B, and C, and rubbing them up against that G sharp, right? And that was just taking all the notes of the A minor scale and then rubbing it up against what's different, what's special about that scale. And to me, I think that's the best way to grasp the harmonic minor scale. It's my own opinion. Another way to do that is by adding that note to triads, which would be, again, a G sharp to an A minor, would be an A minor chord with a G sharp. Or even like this. A lot of different ways to kind of work a G sharp into the chords of C major. Even like... It's just really just kind of experimenting and kind of finding what you like about the harmonic minor. You can make the harmonic minor sound pretty. You can make it sound really nasty. It's just kind of like the context and how you add that one extra note into different chords. So anyways, I think we can wrap up the live stream. I appreciate all of you guys for joining us. Make sure to comment if there's any kind of other videos you want to see, because they just give me a list of what the people want to see, and I try to rock it out as best I can. So definitely let Guitar Control know what you want to see, and we'll be back here next week with more good stuff. Thanks a lot for joining, everybody, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.